Hey everyone, it's Rich Bennett. Can you believe it? The show is turning 10 this year. I am so grateful for each and every one of you who've tuned in, shared an episode, or even joined the conversation over the years. You're the reason that this podcast has grown into what it is today. Together, we've shared laughs, tears, and moments that truly matter. So I want to thank you for being part of this journey. Let's make the next 10 years even better.
Coming to you from the Freedom Federal Credit Union Studios, Harford County Living presents Conversations with Rich Bennett.
Slow pitch or fast
It's probably the least sexy part of the work, and I don't know. It's okay. No. It's fine. The truth is,
this episode explores the transforming path of Gavin Masumiya, a once shy, self-doubting child who discovered his voice and turned his suffering into mission. From mentoring professionals and students on self-expression to overcoming social anxiety, Gavin's narrative is a potent monument to resiliency and the healing power of voice. You're going to love this because you're going to learn, you might learn how to freestyle rap, personal development, and artistic expression, which all helped Gavin rebuild his confidence, and how his observations can motivate you to do the same. How's it going, Gavin?
I'm doing great. I love this intro. Good to be here, Rich.
Thank you, man. And the thing is, here's what I love more than anything, and I did this with Ray. For those of you listening, Gavin knows Ray Lozano, who I had on before. And actually, you work with him, don't you?
Yes.
You have worked with him?
We have worked together.
Okay. So with Ray, I didn't set up any questions or anything. We just went blind, like an elevator pitch, which I love. That one of the best conversations I ever had. You think about it, when those elevator pitches mean a lot, because that's when you're learning about everybody. But before we get into it, Shy, come on, man.
It's interesting. People wouldn't think that, but that was really my journey. I started a year late growing up. I'm a Japanese American, and I was quite expressed in the household. But the minute when I was in school, that was when I'm public facing, I just had that fright, right. And I was not the smartest kid in class too. So stereotypically, I'm Asian. You think that I would be the one that's the highest performing, but I wasn't. And so I had a lot of self-consciousness. I never liked to raise my hand. My sister was the 4.0 student, the golden child. And I was like, I can never measure up to that ruling stick.
Wow.
That's, that it's really interesting. And being a year late, starting a year late, I never thought that would affect me too. Mm-hmm. But when June 10th rolls around, it's like, what, you stupid? Did you flunk? So it just created this sense of like an inferiority complex that it just took years for me to really try to like collapse that and get to the root of that,
Wow.
But it's, that shy recluseness is something that, I still have to be mindful of, because that scared little boy still comes out when I get intimidated. And it's, I do a lot of transformational work, but it's interesting how much these little trails of the past can really take a hold of even present time.
So was it always a struggle throughout school, even high school and all?
High school, I started to come out of my box, more. But really the thing that started to help me, as you mentioned in the introduction, was this thing called freestyle. Mm-hmm. And freestyle is so interesting because, rap was getting really big, and I really I just thought the cadence, how they sonically sounded was so cool. And this whole component of how do you extemporaneously express yourself became this mode of freedom for me, where I never would do it publicly. But I would do it inside of my room, and I would just practice to say free, be, me, she, and try to just find these rhyming words. And it probably sounded terrible at the time, but it started to give me a confidence that I didn't even know that I had. Right.
Wow.
And that's was a super cool thing. But, I tried to actually freestyle in middle school once, and then, one of the popular students said, "Man, you suck," in front of people. And that broke my heart.
Did he freestyle rap at all?
Yeah, they were like the cool skater, like freestylers
okay.
that did. And, it's interesting because when we think about a sense of vulnerability, you're putting yourself out there. You'd like to think that you would get some positive, like, wow, that was cool. Wow, that was courageous.
Yeah.
But when somebody is already super recluse trying to go out and gets shut down, that vulnerability is like seen as a wrong thing. Like, nah, I shouldn't actually do that. But fortunately, I enjoyed it enough to where I kept it kind of going inside of the privacy of my own room to just use that to excavate and to express. And to me, that was kind of a savior in a way.
Did you record any of them?
And not back in the day, we didn't have any recording.
Well,
I didn't have a recording device like that, but I have a lot of recordings now, like more present times of like me and my friend Michael, my friend JP, we would come together just like this at my other place, and we would have these 4 mics set up, and then we would record it. It's crisp, and we would have an hour-long playlist where we would just freestyle. And what I love about our dynamic is that it's not about like, look how cool I am, I want to school your ass, that kind of thing. We would talk more about like insecurities. We would talk about the goals and aspirations that we have, like how we first met. And that's really the shift of freestyle, that people think of freestyle as there's a big bravado to it, but we're using it as a way to excavate a truth. And that is extremely healing because you can't really plan that. You have to trust yourself in the moment. And, freestyling is beautiful, which is why I like public speaking now too. And helping people with that, because when we learn to trust ourselves with our voice, I think there's a lot of power that even I consider myself a little more introverted than I am ambivert, but I was a lot more introverted back then. Right. That introverts have a voice. And if we learn to use it and to express our truth, it doesn't matter if you're introvert or extrovert. This is a tool, a vehicle that we have with us wherever we go.
Yes. And thank God for these, what we're doing here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because more people can. All right, I have to ask you this. So, with the freestyle rap, who was it that you heard first and you said, I got to try that?
Good question. So, BET, we didn't have cable growing up. But I would go to my grandma's house, and Channel 39 was BET, and then they would have something called The Booth, and then they would have certain people that would, so that they would have certain rappers that would come up, and I never knew that certain rappers actually freestyled, or quote unquote, they said it was like a freestyle. Sometimes they would rap their songs, but there was this one person from Dipset, his name was Cameron, and I really liked the way that he did these multi-syllabic rhyming, and he was really smooth. He wore this like pink Kangol hat, and I just thought this person is super cool, and I really liked his song Hey Ma. But he did, I don't know if it was a freestyle or a written that he just did at the booth, but that was something that I thought that was just like so cool, like so novel to me. And he him along with maybe like Lil Wayne at the time inspired me to really like, let me practice. Let me practice this thing that I don't really know nothing about, but I'm very intrigued by. So
it's amazing how, certain things like that, whether you're shy, whether you have anxiety, depression, or whatever, certain things like that, I want to say music in general, how it can help so much. I was the same way, believe it or not. Yes, I was shy growing up. Some people say I wasn't, but I was. And songwriting helped me a lot. I would sit there and write. Of course, my daughter, she reads them songs. She's like, come on, Dad, you wrote about going up in the woods during school and all. No, that's not, I'm not saying I did that. That's just, you see people, when you're writing, you're also writing about other people. Well, in your case, freestyling, you're also freestyling about things you see, Yeah. Now, do you still freestyle rap today?
I still freestyle a little bit, but really also, I'm glad that you brought this up because it has grown a little more into appreciating, the written, like writing into recording. And that actually sparked a lot more where, it's now this is actually getting into a little emotional time because my mother, she basically passed away about 2 years ago. Oh man. And she got to the hospital the day after Mother's Day in 2023. And so this is a precious time being May 9th?
May 9th. Yeah.
But while she was in the hospital, it happened so fast. spinal aneurysm and vasculitis, just two super rare cases but they didn't even know what it was at the time. Like a spinal aneurysm, it's usually in the brain. So it's just really rare. She was immediately paralyzed. She got to go in the ICU. She got put a trach in, hit her throat right away. So we couldn't really talk to her and she couldn't move. And it was just as you can imagine, it's quite a stressful time. And, you know, people be like, are you okay? How you doing? Sometimes I don't want to talk to people about this. You know, I'm just tired. Yeah. Like we were there all day and some spending the night hearing her choke in the middle of the night. It's like, it was hard to really be there, but that's where I just pulled out and I just started writing and I started to make songs. So when I got back, even though I was really tired, I would take my track, I would take it and I would record the track and I would just start putting it on Spotify. And during that time period, I probably wrote like, that 3.5 week period, I think I wrote like 7 songs.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so were a lot of them about your mother?
Yeah. A number of them were about my mother. And you know what I find so special about it? Cause as you're saying that, like, you're kind of just writing about like what's kind of like going on in that moment. Yeah. Like some of these songs was obviously when she was alive. And so some of them is like send prayers over to mom. I have one called Shout Out to Mama about just how amazing that she is. But then at the, you know, and then I'm like, you know, and I'm writing this as I'm in the ICU. Hey mama, I love you in ICU. You remind me how precious this life can be and that love is beyond what my eyes can see. And then I have these, audio recordings of conversations we have, which I call legacy appointments. And anybody who's listening out here, I think it's beautiful. You have parents or loved ones that it's basically, it's like this. You have a podcast, but it's a heart-to-heart conversation that you have with a loved one and you just record it. Maybe it's an audio memo on your phone and you don't have to post it on Spotify or anything. It's just meant for you. And I took some of these pieces where she shares her wisdom about like, you know, what's a piece of advice you have for younger generations and her response to it. And I plugged it into some of the songs in the intro or the outro. And so now her voice lives on through the soundbite of her expression. And even during her eulogy, you know, I shared a segment of her. So like her voice got to be transmitted on the day of her, you know, of kind of a celebration of life. And that's why a part of me just loves voice even more, because when I go back to listen to some of the messages or her voicemails, like it's like a piece of herself is still here. And I think that's so precious. So,
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, people always save the photos, but a lot of people don't save those recordings. And I remember even the old, before cell phones, the old answer machines that people would have on their phones. You know, for the longest time, you know, after my mother passed, I had a tape, and since then it's got ruined, but I would listen to it, you know, or even the old videotapes, which now you're lucky if you can even find a videotape player to all that. A lot of that stuff, it's like, God, I wish I would have converted it over to digital format. Yeah. And I never did. And I kick myself in the tail for that sometimes, but it's, and I don't know if this happens to you. It's happened to me a lot, but there's times where I can smell my mother, I can smell my father, or even my older brother, like they're here, right here. They always had that. Each one, I think everybody has that very distinct smell about them. And I still think sometimes I feel like one of them slapping me in the back of the head.
Come on, Rich.
Hey, actually, Gavin, I mean, I don't know if you've ever thought about this. A friend of mine did this. He's a hell of a songwriter, also a podcaster, Brad Cox. He's taken some of his songs and turned them into a book. Have you thought about doing that? Because with the songs you write, especially if I mean, those are very, would you just explain to me, and I can't wait to go on Spotify and listen to them, but to write a book, you include the lyrics and then the story behind it. Have you thought about doing that?
That is so interesting. So no, number one, no, I haven't thought about that. But one thing in 2025 I'm putting out there is so my artist name is Masu, like Masumiya. And, I want to put it together I have to put this out here, transmit it as accountability too. It's like a Masu, like it's like a performance / workshop. So basically what I want to do is have this, kind of like a workshop, but the songs are threaded with themes. So I have a song called Itadakimasu, and that was the first song that I wrote after my mom died. And I was trying to write a song right after, like within weeks after she died, to commemorate her. And I was getting writer's block. Like nothing would come up. And then I would sit and meditate and be like, okay, Mom, I'm gonna call upon you. And I didn't call upon her yet, like for any message. I'm just like, but is there anything you have for me? I'm trying to commemorate you through a song. And what came to me in a meditation was like, son, I know you love me. You don't have to write a song right now, like, to commemorate your love. Like, do something else. And my favorite word is called itadakimasu, which is, have you ever heard of it before?
No.
Okay. So it's something that we say in Japanese before we eat. And it's itadakimasu, which means thank you for everything that it took to make this happen. So one of my purposes in my life is to live and spread the spirit of itadakimasu across culture and generations. So my song is about explaining the song, explaining what the word is, and then breaking down like parts of my life that I'm grateful for, which ends at the end about, shout out to mama, rest in peace, though my grief is deep. You inspire me to find healing through this beat. Because she inspired me to start writing, right? Even though she couldn't talk, she inspired me to use my voice through music in written form to really take my time to craft something. So I see myself having songs like that. And then after I lead up and be like, this is how it was formed. This is my first song I made a month after my mom died. Boom. Itadakimasu. And then after I'll like maybe have the participants in the crowd like partner up. And then they have an itadakimasu moment where what had to take place in order for you to be here right now? Everyone take a minute, person A, person B. And it's like a mixture of a workshop plus that. But what I'm getting from you is kind of like a written form, like a book form of like, what's the backdrop of each of these songs? Here's the lyrics. Kind of like Jay-Z's Decoded, huh? His book, if you don't know if you ever saw his book. Oh, but it has like pictures and it has his lyrics, and then it's kind of like a biography that's threaded through. And then he breaks down, this is what I mean in these ones, because some of these raps are very cryptic. You don't really know, what do you mean by the street? Oh, that's where you grew up in. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because, and we've talked about music a lot on here, and even some songwriters and artists have said, a song they've written, it's amazing how later on down the road could mean something different. And to me, that is a true art. So even though the song's about your mother, it could have a different meaning for somebody else.
It's true.
And I think that is a true art form when you can write something, even a painting. You look at a painting, and if you study that painting, you can see different things in it that the artist really never even saw. And that's a true artist. So wait a minute. So on Spotify, it's Masu, Masu.
Masu. And for anybody that's out there wants to see, I think there's some other artists there, but if you write Masu Rebirthday, that's the song that I wrote on my birthday, and it was the last song that I think I finished it. So June 10th is my birthday, and I was, it's my favorite song, and it probably will forever be my most sentimental song, because I'm sitting there, and I wanted to stay in the hospital on my birthday, because I honestly thought to myself, hey, I think this is going to be the last birthday with her, and it was at St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica. And that's actually the hospital that I was born in. So
really?
Yeah, the hospital that I was born in. So I spent the night there from 9 p.m. to about 2 a.m. My sister, I love her so much, she said, hey, what if she knew that I was starting to write music at this time. Yeah. She's like, why don't you write a song during this, during your time, during this night? So I made that my goal. I found a beat. I bought the license of it. I started to look through the voices, because it's like, okay, the concept of rebirthday just came up. I want to do something like that, where it's not commemorating me. Look, it's my birthday. Woohoo. It's like rebirthday is like using challenge as a way to give birth to something new, like music. And then also shout out to my mama, shout out to my auntie, shout out to the people that made my life possible. And so I wanted to shout out my my family on my birthday.
Wow.
And yeah, I wrote that, and then I came back the next day because on the 10th, I got off and I just recorded it immediately, and then I just threw it on Spotify, just 2 takes, throw it up, and that's what came out. So I hope anyone that looks at it, it maybe gives you a different lens around what birthdays mean, and a shout out to your mama.
I love that, man. Wow. And you said it was a day after Mother's Day?
So the day after Mother's Day, she, she was already getting sick. She was losing her appetite and stuff. But then on Mother's Day, she was walking. We had Mediterranean food. And then the day after, I guess she couldn't really get up. So I wasn't there, but my brother, had to just make, I just have so much respect for him. He just had to make the decision to be like, I think we got to call the paramedics. And then, I went a couple hours later, and that's when we found out. My brother was just we were trying to keep it light. So he was kind of just tickling her feet and something. And then she couldn't feel it. And so we're like, okay, something's weird. So we started to be like, how about your knee? Do you feel that? Your stomach? You don't feel that? Oh shit. This is serious.
Wow.
So we called them in, the doctors and everything, the nurses, we yelled them in, and then she was paralyzed and didn't even know it. And they didn't even know it. So they immediately had to go from general population to ICU immediately. And, that it was in that moment, that she was scared too, cause she's like, what's going on? I'm like, don't worry, we'll figure this out. But inside I'm like, I'm scared of what the
Of course, yeah.
And that's when her hands were getting stiff too. And in that moment, we didn't want her to, they had to really try to get her down as fast as possible. Cause if it gets up to her lungs area, that's life threatening, right?
Yeah.
But I remember very clearly just one of these moments in the hospital. There was many, but one of I'm to the left, my brother's on the right, and my mom, after just seeing this news and all this commotion, she takes her stiff hands and she kind of tries to raise it, and she just she grazes our cheek and just says sons, if I don't make it, you are loved. I love you so much. And in our household, we didn't say that. We didn't say I love you. And I'm so grateful for that moment, because it was, I think just growing up, that's something that I always wanted to hear. Just I love you. And what do you know? Basically, 2 days later, they had to shove down a trach down her throat, and she just couldn't talk again. But that was one of the greatest gifts in the hospital. Just those moments of holding my mom's hand, kissing her on the forehead. We never had this intimacy like that. And I'm like, damn, I love kissing my mom on the forehead. I'm so glad I had these moments to just hold her hand and do that, even though it was such a crazy situation.
Yeah. Wow, man.
Yeah.
God. Now it makes a huge difference. And I think a lot of people were raised that way, just to not say I love you.
Oh yeah.
No. And it's funny because my daughter will not say it to me. She does, but she doesn't say I love you. It's always Oh, okay. So that's our thing now. She says, now she'll say it to her mother. I don't know. Why does she say it to? I don't understand that one. My son will say it to me all the time. Yeah, my daughter's like she doesn't believe me or something.
That's tough love, Richie.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. All right, so what made you decide to get into public speaking?
Wow. One stop that where I started to really fall in love with it was after. So I was living in Japan for about 2 years. I was teaching English over there. That's when I actually started to coach pro bono. I started to coach this guy from the Navy and this one from the U.S. Every Saturday, I would coach them just pro bono, and I fell in love with it. I was already thinking about coaching because my friend planted a seed with me since I decided I didn't want to be a psychotherapist, but. It was also just around time I linked up with this other coach over there, Keiju, and we did we ended up doing a workshop over there together. We just brought in some friends, and I fell in love with that too. And I came to terms that I'm just going to go stay in Japan for one more year, and then I'm going to come back, because really what I want to do is I want to pursue coaching and get better at this thing called public speaking. So I stayed 1 year. I taught in the school in Yokohama. I came back, picked up my job in behavioral therapy again, for cash flow. And then I went to a coaching program. And then within a month of coming back in May 2015, I joined Toastmasters.
What?
So Toastmasters, right? So that public speaking organization.
Yes.
And I found this cool little ecosystem of people that after work or whatever they are, it was called Coach Masters. So it was perfect. It was like coaches that are coming together to practice public speaking on a Monday night in Marina Del Rey. And I'm like, geez, like this is a cool little universe. And that's really why I found this, learned a little bit more about, like, according to them, the fundamentals of some of the fundamentals of public speaking. And I don't know if anybody has ever done a Toastmasters, but then there's this cool little role that I think is such a quiet role that people don't really acknowledge. It's called, like, the general evaluator. So the general evaluator is basically the one that at the end you have Toastmasters, you give speeches. And then you have a thing called table topics, which is great because that's the impromptu speaking. And then you have the evaluators where someone's elected to evaluate a speaker, but there's a general evaluator who's kind of like the cartilage. They'll call up the evaluators, but I don't like always being on the script, so I kind of made it my own, and I would use it as a way to not just be the cartilage that would segue people, but then I would also kind of like evaluate the evaluators, and then I would summarize the meetings. And that's when I love this. I really just think of public speaking as a way of you're facilitating. You're really facilitating a situation. And it led to this thing around called, like, basically, Flow Fam, where it was a mixture of freestyle, where freestyle meets, like, public speaking together, and curating using music as a way, as a soundtrack in the background for people to express themselves really authentically, like genuinely. And you don't have to rhyme. People don't have to sing, but there's something about music in the background that gets people to feel something.
Yes.
And they just connect when they're speaking on a whole other level. And I see people that would get into this thing called, like, I call it tunnel flow.
Yeah. Okay.
Tunnel flow where they're just like, they're in this rapture, and then they get caught up, and sometimes we just have to, like, get them to snap out of it because they get lost into it. And music is one of those ways that I think triggers that sense of flow for people to access their truth more deeply. So I wouldn't play, like, really loud, big hip hop music, actually, only in the beginning, but I would do a little softer, lo-fi type music to get people, like, so they don't have to be at a faster cadence. But all that being said is, like, Toastmasters opened me up to this thing called public speaking that I really enjoyed and started really mentoring people. And I realized that, people would come up to me to want to be mentored. And this was before Toastmasters.
It's a good feeling.
It is, like, and people of different ethnicities, of different ages. And I'm like, I thought about that. Like, why do somebody who was not expressed growing up, how interesting that, like, my voice is, like, valued, or people wanting to learn, to learn from me. And so then I'm like, wow, there's something about this, around voice, that I want to get better at and help people with.
I've always wanted to do Toastmasters, and there's a local one here. Unfortunately, they meet the same night that our Lions Club meets, and I'm president of that, so I can't go.
The Lions Club. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't mean to interview you, but I'm like, what's a Lions Club?
One of the best kept secrets in the world. Seriously, that's what we always say. So Lions Club is one of the largest service organizations in the world. And we do a lot with sight, hearing, childhood cancer, diabetes awareness, homelessness, the environment. It used to be just vision and hearing. And then it's been around for a long, I want to say over 100 years now. Wow. Yeah. But a lot of people don't know about it. Now, our charter where I'm at, we were founded in 1965. No, I was not a member yet, Gavin. Okay. I was only 2 years old. But no, I've been in for 25 years and been president for the past 8 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
and our biggest thing is we always give back to the community somehow or another, whether it's buying, like during the holidays, buying groceries or helping people that can't afford all the groceries for a holiday dinner. We'll go to the grocery store down there with gift cards and help, pay it forward. We do free vision screening, free hearing screening. And there's a lot more things that we want to do to help people. Of course, we always do the pizza with Santa Claus, which is free for the kids that really can't, afford to go out and eat. So we do that. We do an Easter egg hunt, which is free. Just stuff we, love doing. We got a pet festival coming up where it's not focused on pets, but we want to invite different nonprofits, businesses, and everything from the community, because a lot of people don't know who they are. And like the Lions Club. So, but no, you're not the first one to ask that.
Yeah.
You're not the first. Matter of fact, because I'll never forget this. When I was in the IT field, I forget where I was, but I heard this lady over talking about how her mother's having problems with vision and she can't afford eyeglasses. And I introduced myself. I said, did you contact your local Lions Club? She didn't know what it was. So I told her, and I said, yeah, contact them because they will help her get eyeglasses. They may even pay for everything. If people qualify, we cover the cost and everything. And hearing aids aren't cheap.
Oh, yeah.
They're expensive.
Imagine. Wow.
They are expensive. Actually, I want to, with the Toastmasters and everything, I want to get back to something because with you being an entrepreneur, you do the speaking. Are you also a member of a mastermind group?
Of a mastermind. Well, masterminds are something that is just like a part of my life. So I have a mastermind with my friend CK. We have something called Wealthy. Shout out to my friend CK. We do something called Wealthy Warrior. And that's basically where we come together weekly, just us two. And we talk about our finances and our budgeting system that he put me on called YNAB. So we just, we give updates like this is what's going on. Did we reconcile our budgeting? We have one called the Lighthouse with my buddy Kenny and CK. And that's basically where we come together for some type of business issue. We each come with something. So mastermind.
That's a mastermind group. Yeah.
Then I have one called Quantum Flow Mind with my two buddies. It's a way of like my friendships to come together. One from East Coast, one from NorCal. And we come together and we just be like, this is what we're up to in the week. So we schedule our friendships, but in the form of like accountability too. So that's like kind of the version of mastermind that's currently held in my life.
Well, but it's good because I know a lot of people will do networking groups. But they won't do any mastermind groups. Okay. And I think it helps your business more when you sit there and can speak with other people like CK and all. Tell them your wins, tell them your struggles, and you guys just sit there and brainstorm. Yeah. It helps out a lot.
It helps out. It helps out a lot. And like this other piece that makes me realize too is that masterminding has taught me about the importance of asking for help. It's so easy just for me. I know that even when I tucked away and my mother passed, it was harder than ever before where I was lone wolfing in the beginning more than ever. But I was also having this existential crisis of like, what is it that I really, mom's not here. What's this really you want your life to be about, Gavin? Yeah. Like, do you still want to do coaching? And I was hurt. I thought it was like hurting so much. And I'm like, can I still coach? Can I still help people when I'm just having this tremendous amount of grief that I've never had before, peace. And what came to me inside of that as I started talking with my other men about like, I wanted to also be a part of other like purpose driven organizations and teams. Like I miss that. Solopreneurship has been such a lonely route for me. And that's really actually led me to some opportunities, like even Ray, shout out to Ray Lozano. Yeah. Like that opportunity kind of came up during like within, I don't know if it was like within the year after my mother's passing connected us. And, he works with, speaks about drug prevention at schools. Yeah. And then, what really mentored me, helped me put together a keynote speech so that I've gone to a number of schools with him to speak now. or my friend's company called Ultra Speaking, where we met in Toastmasters, which their company's really revolutionizing the public speaking and communication industry, in my opinion, by using games as a way to target specific skills. So I'm now one of the coaches with them, and facilitate their cohorts and do one-on-one coaching. So it's expanded my bucket. We're now part of these other purpose-driven teams that is making me so much more happier. I'm a part of this one called Zella too, and we work with target really middle management. And I do one-on-one coaching with them virtually. It's beautiful. Like, I think I really had to humble myself and find out what's important to me. So, these are also other areas that I'm contributing.
Man. All right. So when's the TED Talk coming?
I know. You want to know something? That's one thing. Attention that I have at TEDx. TEDx is one of the intentions that I have. TEDx Talk.
Do it, man.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. Have you done a TEDx?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Oh, not yet. I would love to, but people, look, if I get up on the stage, I ain't shutting up.
Like the 18 minutes or the 12 to 18 minutes is not going to.
I know. Here's the funny thing with speaking. When you're given a time limit, to me, it seems like that time drags on. And then it hits you. It's like, holy cow, you never think about, because somebody will tell you 5 minutes. You're like, there ain't no way I can cover everything in 5 minutes. You'd be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
You would be surprised. And I'll never forget that one of the first, I forget what it was. It was one of the first networking groups I went to. And they said, well, you only got I think it was 1 minute or it may have been a minute to tell us about, basically your elevator pitch. I was like, there ain't no way in hell you get. I was finished in 15 seconds. And they're like, go on. It's like, really? I mean, it's a lot harder than people think.
Yeah. I really am curious about the what it would take to actually for a TEDx, because I did a TEDx youth talk. Like at this high school years ago, this person from Toastmasters, and I'm like, a part of me is almost thinking it doesn't really count because it wasn't recorded, and I'm like, oh, there's no way of capturing that piece. And then, but you want to know, one of my considerations is I move when I talk. I'm a mover. Yeah. So when you have that little red circle, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to stay in that red circle, man.
Wait a minute. There's a red circle you got to stay in?
Yeah, typically there's like a red circle that you kind of want to stay within for the camera. I'm like, no, I like to move, baby.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, you look at the Zig Ziglars, the oh God, I forgot his other name already. But you look at these guys that are
Jim
on
Rome.
stage.
Yeah.
They're always moving back and forth on the stage.
Yeah. I think I've been really influenced by looking at Tony Robbins or people, how they move. So
that's what I was trying to think of.
It's such a big part of me. I'm just like, I talk on my feet. But anyways, thank you for bringing that up, because that's another intention that I do have around TEDx. And I know there's a big application process that's going with it, but my friend Ma and I are seeing how we can, that's something that we want to collaborate on. Let's both, do what it takes together to have a TEDx talk ourselves.
Well, I know there's a difference between the TEDx talk and the TED Talk.
Oh yeah, so the TED Talk is a more,
that's the big
one that's hosted by TED. TEDx are more independently run, so they're happening.
So you could
actually all the time, right?
Yeah. I think you should go. You know enough speakers where you could fill up that time.
I know a few people have already done a TEDx talk. So It's just, it's not something that I have prioritized yet, but I did write it down as one of these loose intentions. So you bringing this up is like, all right, Gavin, now this is going public facing to the universe now.
You got to do it now.
All right, That's what I love about these talks and kind of bringing it out, because then it creates this sense in a way of this accountability too, because that is something that I've been meaning to do. That's been one of my things that I just put to the wayside. So.
I want to talk about your coaching too, because you do one-on-one coaching. But this is the part that I really love, and I always love asking people this. Can you share a feel-good story or stories about somebody that you helped with your coaching or even your public speaking? And you don't have to use names. That's totally up to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one, let me see. What are some of them? I could do two. One person that I'm really proud of is someone. She's so awesome. Like she's like an opera singer. She's very talented, and it was really a part about her owning her voice in more public spaces. And so through our time together, she was a part of my group coaching program at the time called Unleash Your Authentic Voice, and it was all about like helping them to get to a place where they're going to display their expression. And a lot of them were in some capacity, whether it's vlogging, she was singing. It helped her where she landed a job she landed an opportunity at the LA Theater, and she performed the most beautiful opera song. Like, I'm not an opera singer, but helping people to get so present where they're just like, they're ready to go up. Like, they're ready to just show. And she was in this sexy, like, she looked like a superwoman or something. And there's a beautiful video of her performing that on YouTube. It's one of her highest viewed ones. Siren is her artist name. And that was like such a proud moment for me just to look up, and she was just in it. Like, she was fierce. The way that she would look on the stage, you just know that she's not self-conscious. She's being with the people. I freaking love that. And then another person is this beautiful person where there's some people who just preserving confidentiality, but there's just certain people who are really hard workers. They're really hard workers, but they can get passed up. And why do they get passed up in the workplace? Like, one of them is like, you can be a hard worker, but if you're not communicating what it is that you're doing, then sometimes like your boss, your higher ups are not really going to know. So you have to learn to practice being comfortable with self-advocacy. So through our work together with self-advocating, he started to really put together these pieces on like, this is the job description and this is what I've been doing. And being persistent. So now he moved up to senior tech manager. Right. And it was, this piece where sometimes actions speak louder than words. Great. But like, your voice is here too. Like, you need both. So self-advocacy a lot of it's about voice. You have to communicate, because sometimes your boss has no idea they don't know what to do, and they have so many other things that they got to juggle there. So that was like a recent one that took place that, I'm also like just so proud of him. Because he was coachable. He was determined. He was willing to actually not just put in the work by doing the actions, but actually practicing advocating for himself with his voice. And that's the reason why now he is where he is.
Now, the young lady you were talking about, is it okay to give her name?
Siren. So shout out to Siren.
But she's got a testimonial on your website as well. Not under Siren though.
Oh, Keely.
Yes. Everybody listening, go to testimonials and you'll see her testimonial there. Click on that link. Oh my God. Mind blowing. I love opera.
Okay. You should listen to her voice. I hope that. She's incredible.
Yes.
And what I love about the work, and I'm just going to give a shout out to her because she has this kind of. So for me, in this era, like, I listened to hip hop growing up. Now I listen to more R&B, but like opera was just not a part of my ecosystem that I'd listen to. But when she sings, there's a sense of, she has this talent, but there's a modern kind of like twist to it that
it gets inside you.
It's edgy. It's like an edgy opera. And then I just think of like like behind a little like lectern thing. But nope, she's just moving, and I'm like, ooh, this is like a different flavor that I think is really kind of like hip to this new era of fusion. And I just think I've never seen anything like it. She's brilliant. Yeah.
Oh, I can sit there and listen to. Well, I do. I listen to all types of music. I mean, it's unfortunately I can't listen to opera when my wife or daughter are home because it's just like with a lot of things, you got to crank it up.
Okay.
Yeah, just pull all the different things out of it, man. But yeah, so those of you wondering how to get to his website. Gavin, tell everybody the website.
Yeah, so it's very simple, but it's my name. So Gavin, Gavin, and my last name, Masumiya, Masumiya.com.
And I will have the link for that in the show notes, as well as the link to his Spotify.
Yes.
So you can go and listen to his music and everything else. And actually, with the coaching, do you do that virtually? So you coach anybody no matter where they're at?
If it works for us, if it's a good fit. So basically 90% of the time I'm coaching virtually. It's all on Zoom. It's all on Zoom. They're recorded sessions that take place. If someone's local and then there's a good fit, they can come over to my place, but that's on just kind of in exceptions that are made. So I do virtual coaching.
Okay. And what is the vocal mastery assessment?
The vocal mastery assessment is basically, it's a questionnaire. It's a questionnaire for people to take just to see where they are with their level of how they perceive themselves and the level of communication, the level of confidence in different situations. So that allows me to further kind of like assess where they are and if I might be able to help them.
All right. So with the public speaking and everything and the coaching, God, and the rap and everything else, have you thought about starting your own podcast?
I've gotten that quite a bit, honestly, around podcasting. And I did have a podcast with a friend called 9 to 5 with Gavin and Mike. It is on Spotify. Okay. There's about 30 episodes or something on there. And he's another coach. And we were basically, it was short, sharp, sweet snippets of insight for anybody hustling a 9 to 5. That was like our thing, wanting to, help professionals. It just served its time and we completed, but I haven't had a podcast since,
Well, keep doing this. Just be guesting on other podcasts and talking about your business and your everything that you do. Cause I think of course, you always want to grow your business.
Yeah.
You're like me. You like to help others grow theirs as well. And it just, I think maybe that might be your calling, that in the book.
The book, this, yeah.
The writing, yeah, man.
The podcasting is I'm glad we're also bringing this piece, because the podcasting is something that I have thought about, definitely. Like one of my best friends, CK, he's like 200 episodes deep in The Noble Warrior, his podcast. And, it's just this process of, how would I guess I'm getting caught up in the how would I want to do this? I'm going to have it where I always look for a guest every time, or do you have some where you just speak on your own and you just have like solo podcasts?
Yeah, I do some solo ones. Not a whole lot. I have more guests than anything. And when I started, I was focused strictly on local. Yeah, I was just only talking to people here. And then when a friend of mine told me to rebrand and change the name of it, I started getting people from everywhere. And most of my guests now I get through Podmatch.
Okay.
Yeah,
so it's actually, okay.
It's like oh man. I mean, the funny thing is with Podmatch, it's not just about getting guests on your show. To me, it's also like a giant networking group. Because everybody I've gotten on the show from there, we still communicate with each other.
Oh, that's awesome.
And a lot of them have been on over and over and over again. And I can send you the link for all that. Actually, I think Ray's on it, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Is that how you found him?
Well, we found out that's it. Yeah, we found out that's how it was.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, because at first I was like, wait a minute, I don't remember this name. And when we were talking, we started the podcast, he said, I think I found you through Podmatch. I'm like, really? I said, I don't remember that. So, but that's how it was. It's a great source. That, and I've had a lot of, when it gets nice out, I'll record in person. So I get people that contact me about coming on, from around here. Like my buddy I told you about, that's a songwriter who also started his own podcast. Brad. He's been on a few times. He's coming on again with the part about addiction, because we talk about addiction a lot. We'll get some local people on and people throughout the world. But I'm telling you, man, if I would have found out 10 years ago about recording like this virtually and having people on from all over the world, that's the way I would have started. And I learned a lot from it. But one of the things I did do before I started it, and a lot of podcasters don't do this, which is why a lot of them don't succeed. I put together a business plan before I even launched, and had a sponsor before I even recorded the first episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't look at it as a business until they get further into it. It's like, oh, I should get some sponsors. Well, no, put your business plan together, make it part of your business. To me, that's such a smart way to go about it, because otherwise it's kind of just going where you want it to go, and it may actually not be a proper funnel into the business then. Yeah. And even if it's just covering your cost, because I see a lot of podcasters that they'll get into it, and one of the first things they'll do is go and rent a podcast studio to record their podcast. Well, that's money coming out of your pocket. If you don't have a sponsor, why are you doing it? Or they'll spend buku bucks on equipment. Like they'll buy a Shure SM7B for $400 or whatever it is. You don't need that when you start. You can get a $50 microphone.
Right.
Yeah, which is fine. So, but no, it's fun, man. If you need any help with it, let me know. I always love helping people that want to get into podcasts, even ones that have been into it for a while. Yeah. A lot of people I've had on, they'll contact me. Rich, how did you get sponsors again? I'll sit there and tell them. Yeah. Eventually, I'll get a book written about it.
So there's a book coming out. Rich, do you have a book out yet?
Not yet. I'm working on it. One of my mentors he's going to kick me in the tail because I'm not done yet.
No. Thank you for, thank you for extending that too with this podcasting, because that's just pleasure, one of these other pieces that has been definitely on my mind as well.
Yeah.
About like, well, what could that really look like? But like you really thoughtfully putting yours together on like, don't just like shoot by your hip. Just don't shoot by your hip. Just have this proper plan if you really want it to be, or business generating. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And the thing is with what you do with the coaching and the public speaking, because there are some people that will use scripts and set questions. You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
You just do it just like I am with the natural conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, think about it. When you're sitting there coaching somebody, actually, well, you might, I don't know, because I don't really do, I do coaching. But I mean, when you guys start talking, do you have a list of set questions that you're asking them, or?
No, I don't. Yeah. But I do have a thing around these are directions that we can go. Right.
Yeah.
And so I have like a little outline on where things can go. I know my setup on how I coach people because I've done it a number of times now. So, but I'm not married to the agenda.
Yeah. Right.
It's just menu items. Yeah.
And there are a lot, I mean, I've been on some other podcasts as a guest where, they have the set questions, which is fine. That's the way theirs works. I had another young lady, and she's awesome, out of San Diego. And she does the, oh God, Joy, if I get it wrong, don't yell at me. The readings, not the tarot cards.
Is it called Akashic readings?
No. Almost like, I wouldn't say psychic readings, but it's not really that.
Okay.
And I think I was the first one that she actually did, while recording virtually.
Oh, okay.
And I've had her on again. So, but that worked for her. There's so many different things you can do. We're going to be doing it, eventually. Wendy, who I told you about from Rage, is going to launch her own podcast, but we're still brainstorming that. Does she want to talk to people in recovery? Does she want to do some solo ones on what to do? There's so many different ways you can go there.
Yeah.
But I got to stop babbling on, man.
This
Gavin,
is great. Yes.
Is there anything you would like to add before I get to my last question?
Well, I think for just anyone in general, that if you are going through challenging times are just going to come up. There can be challenging times in the economy. There could be just challenging times in relationships at work too. I know people that have gotten laid off as well. I think that on one side, that one thing that has helped me just a lot, just going back to the music, that was my release valve. That was my version of alchemy. But I think that there's just something beautiful about if you have something where it's not just, you don't have to talk therapy all the time, but you have something on the side, whether it's a hobby or it's something that you engage in as a way to transmute whatever you're going through, because that turns challenge into, or vulnerability into art, into creative expression that, like you said, can be open to interpretation for other people to help them in ways you didn't even intend to. It's the happy accidents that come from that. So, it's also having the courage to share your work more public facing. You never know who you're going to touch. And so find a way to alchemize through creative expression, I think, is something that I think anybody, deserves.
All right. So this is going to take a lot of thought on this. So everything that you know today, everything that you've learned, what would you go back and tell young Gavin back in elementary school?
So if I was my older self going to my younger self.
Yeah, what piece of advice? To get away from the shy, especially being, shy Gavin.
Yeah. So specifically to him, I'm very much, my love languages are words of affirmation and physical touch. Those are my highest ones. So I would go up to him and I would hug him. First off, I would hug him.
Yes.
So not even before I speak, I would just hug him, like give him a big bear hug. And he might be like, what is this? Cause he's not used to it. Like, what is this? But then I will hold him until he softens, and I'll probably say something just simple as like, I love you.
Yeah.
And I would look at him like, I love you.
People
you're
don't
loved.
realize. Yeah.
It's like the words that my mom said before in the hospital, like just you're loved and that graze upon your cheek. Like I would take that same energy, but from a place of strength of like, I love you,
Yeah.
And I think that if people know that because I knew that I loved growing up, but to hear it to their love language, right? To their main love languages, to me, I think that's what I would do. Cause he's younger. I don't know what else he would process, at that age, at whatever, 13 or something like that. But to get a hug for the nervous system and a sense of I love you was something that, I always wanted to hear. And that would be just very simple. No big Martin Luther King speech. That's what I would do.
I think what you said is perfect. And I think that's two things that are missing a lot today, especially with, because let's face it, you're told, whether you're a teacher or whatever, you're not allowed to hug the kids. And I remember, with the Special Olympics, they had huggers. We were always a hugger. And it makes a big difference. That hug, man, it does. And hearing I love you makes a huge, huge difference. And people don't realize that.
I mean, especially with the virtual climate now, that a lot of interactions right here, right? Like we may never physically meet. Like it'd be really cool if we did, right? And but this is the state of how things are now. It's like there's so much online gaming or people that are just have connections where their closest connections are largely transmitted virtually. Yeah. So there's no physical touch, no matter how deep a conversation is. It is. And I still have relationships that way where they live across the country. So this is our main form of connecting, except for twice a year when we meet up. So
you just gave me an idea, which I'm going to mention to you after we're done here. Gavin, I want to thank you so much, brother. It's been fun. Tell Ray I said hi, and tell him I said thank you.
Will do. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you for listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something from it as I did. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I'd love it if you could leave a review. It helps us reach more listeners and share more incredible stories. Don't forget to connect with us on social media or visit our website at conversationswithrichbennett.com for updates, giveaways, and more. Until next time, take care, be kind, and keep the conversations going. You know, it takes a lot to put a podcast together. And my sponsors help out a lot, but I also have some supporters that actually help me when it comes to the editing software, the hosting, and so forth. There's a lot that goes into putting this together. So I want to thank them. And if you can, please visit their websites, visit their businesses, support them however you can. So please visit the following: Real Life Prosthetics, cutting edge solutions, restoring ability since 2001. Go to reallifeprosthetics.com. Full Circle Boards. Nobody does charcuterie like Full Circle Boards. Visit them at fullcircleboards.com. Sincerely Sawyer Photography. Live in the moment. They'll capture it. Visit them at sincerelysawyer.com.